Alright, just wanted to make a video talking about some of the ideas that I just had. I was thinking about if you sort of separate people into two categories, this simplifies it, but let's say there's two types of people. You have people who are rule followers, and then there's the other type of person, which is a person who does things based on principles. So, as I grew up in my life, I've often been faced with rule followers, because that's the majority of people. The majority of people are rule followers. And so when they get together, they seem very overpowering, and it seems like they have very strong opinions and principles. But that's only when the group supports them. So what a rule follower really is, it's not so much that they're a rule follower. They're more of a taking the temperature of the room follower. In other words, they essentially, if you like look at it from like a herd mentality perspective, they're like an animal in a herd, and like a lion confronts them directly, and now they don't know what to do, because they don't make their decisions based on the direct information that is available to them. How these types of people, how the majority type of people make their decisions on what to do next or how to maintain safety is, they, instead of paying attention to their direct environment with situational awareness, they look to what is the herd doing. So if the herd starts running, that's how they know that danger is around. So like, the herd is running, it doesn't really matter what your surrounding is. The herd is running, now you run, The herd is running, that means danger. But on an individual level, a person like this may not know what to do when faced with the danger directly. And so, they might get eaten by a lion because they're like, well, the herd isn't running, so I guess I'm not, I guess I'm safe. And so the lion runs and eats them. And so that's interesting to me how, as I was growing up, I was often kind of baffled by the kinds of attitudes that, when a collective, when approached with sort of a collective fervor, there's this strong, this powerful attitude of, you need to do what we say because we're right. But then if you approach them on an individual level and you sort of ask, if it's just from person to person, you start asking them questions about why is it that you do the things that you do, and why is this so important to you? Like, and then they won't have an answer for you, because it's more, their decisions come, because they don't really realize where their decision come from. Their decisions come from an instinct. Well, the herd is doing it, so it must be good. And they may have all the words that is like the party platform, so to speak. The herd sort of decision that has been made. Like, they'll be able to tell you that, but when they run out of words for that, if you ask them something that, that would require for them to think for themselves and come up with a solution to that problem to fill in that gap, they would just say, well, I don't know. This is just the way we do it. It's just common sense. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I just do it this way, and you should do it that way too. Everyone knows it. Like that would be like the common response of someone like this. Well, everyone just knows, that's how you do it. And so there's a certain interesting irony behind that, because it's like these people who have like these really, like, on the surface seem like they're very very principled, because of like they have this strict adherence to following the rules. You realize they're not really following the rules. They're just following the current attitude of what they've sort of instinctively picked up from the culture around them. And so they can't even really tell you why they believe the things that they believe. Because in a certain sense, statistically, their survival, they probably have a better chance of surviving by paying attention to the herd based on statistics than somebody who makes decisions purely for individualistic, principled reasons. Because a person like that, when the herd runs, they stand out in the field and alone. They might stand alone and they see their herd moving. They look around. They don't see a lion. They don't see a threat. So they say, well, fuck that. I'm not going to run. I'm just going to stand here and eat this grass, because this grass is fucking delicious. And I ain't fucking running for no bitch. So, that might work, pretty well for that individual, but statistically, more eyes are perhaps better than an individual's ability to see a threat. So it's a certain trade-off, between, if you hold your principles, your survival rate may be a little bit lower than somebody who follows rules and follows the herd. But you might be able to see things more. You become more direct. You might be in more direct contact with reality, because you don't use the herd as the middleman for making your decisions. But you might not be able to see, what the herd is able to see before you're able to see it. So, yeah, if you think about it that way, it kind of makes sense on why the majority of people would choose to sort of outsource their danger sense to the collective over, their individual's ability to scan the environment and correctly ascertain whether or not there's a threat. So anyhow, just something I thought was interesting to note. And I guess I'll leave it here. You have a good one.